What is up, everybody? Chris Hendrickson here, coming at you with the first ever interview on Hendrickson Media. And today I have someone who is incredibly special, a real hero for the animals, and someone who's basically essential to the Proposition 12 campaign in California, and that is Phoenix Huber. So, Phoenix, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today. We have been friends for many, many years now. And I'm just remembering the first time we met at the Animal Rights Conference in 2016, right?
That's right.
Yeah, it's been so long since then. And then, so Phoenix actually signed up to be a full-time signature gatherer with the Yes on 12 campaign, which I was overseeing the team of full-time signature gatherers. So how did you, what made you decide to want to be involved in the Yes on 12 campaign?
Well, I had moved to San Francisco
Uh-huh.
to volunteer with the Humane League, and that was the best thing I ever did because it really got me doing things that I could feel the impact I was making for millions of animals that we help with these really big campaigns.
Mm-hmm.
And so I love working on their 88% campaign, doing leafleting and helping with protests and all kinds of various things we got to do for the Humane League.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to remember where exactly I found out about what later was known as Prop 12.
Yeah, because then it was Prevent Cruelty California.
Exactly.
So I think I remember it was on Facebook, or maybe
That
word
might have
of
been
mouth. Like Zoe might have told you about it, or maybe
Yeah.
I sent you an email. Who knows?
But I saw, I read the Prevent Cruelty CA website and the open position for signature gatherers.
Mm-hmm.
And I already knew I love leafleting. I've done quite a bit of leafleting with info about veganism, as well as leafleting for the 88% campaign. And then an opportunity to actually get paid and work full time doing that for a while sounded extremely exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very excited to apply and very, very happy when I got the job.
Right on. And now, for those who might never have leafleted before, what is leafleting?
Oh yeah, well, I guess how I understand it, you basically go in a public space where you're able to hand out information to a large volume of receptive people.
Mm-hmm.
So with leafleting about veganism or plant-based diet, I did that a lot at university campuses.
Mm-hmm.
That way, it was lots of young people who tend to be receptive to the message and just handing them out in volume.
Yeah. I've done my fair share of leafleting, and it's a grind, but people are so excited when you meet those people who are like, yes, I've been thinking about this, I've been looking into this, and you probably were able to carry a lot of those skills to signature gathering, right?
Yeah, signature gathering, it's interesting. In some ways, it's a little bit more challenging than leafleting because you have more conversations.
Yeah.
Instead of just maybe saying, help animals and handing them the leaflet, you actually engage them with a short explanation of what the ballot measure is for. Mm-hmm. And why they want to sign, and just a little more talking and chatting with everyone. So at first I was a little more nervous to do it, definitely, but it also became very engaging.
Yeah.
Getting to talk with lots of people and hear their perspectives, why they wanted to sign, why they cared about animals, and also through doing it so much, I would even find little questions I could ask people, actually something we did with Prevent Cruelty CA on the weekly check-in calls. Mm-hmm. For all of us who are paid to gather the signatures. We'd do a question of the day where we'd get asked a fun question to get to know each other better. So sometimes when I was gathering a signature, when someone was signing their name and writing down their registered address and everything, I would just have a question of the day to ask them. And that would just be a fun way to just keep myself entertained and brighten their day with some thought-provoking conversation.
Totally. I'd actually like to do that in my personal life. Anytime you're at a grocery store or something, at the cashier or something, or you just randomly meet someone, it's always fun to do. But I actually got a clipboard right here. So this is what Phoenix carried around. Here is the petition sheet for the Yes on Prop 12 campaign. And what the Yes on Prop 12 campaign did is it banned the sale of products coming from gestation crates for mother pigs, basically these tiny metal cages that trap mother pigs for their entire life. It banned products from battery cages and also veal crates. So essentially, this was a ban on extreme confinement of farm animals. So it applied to the production methods, meaning that the farmers in the state of California are not allowed to use, gestation crates, battery cages, veal crates, and it set space minimums. But it also prohibited the sale of products from those confinement practices in the state of California as well. So what Phoenix would do, and I'll hand it to you. How would you approach someone on the street?
Oh, it's been a while. Let's see. Well, I'd have this handy dandy sign that would, give people the idea. Sometimes I would even have a full page that had it in bigger text, and the page would just say, would you have a minute for a quick signature to help animals? I think is what it said. So I would often just say something like that, would you have just a minute to sign a petition to help animals? And that got a lot of people interested if they wanted to help animals. It worked really well on college campuses. That was probably like the best place I ever went to was college campuses.
Right.
And then, let's see, a lot of times they'd just be like, sure, and they'd just be very trusting, and they just want to sign it. Other times, I'd explain what it's about to make sure that animals aren't living their lives in cages, to prevent cruel confinement. I forget now what kind of lines I said over and over, but just something quick to explain it in a convincing, clear way. And then if they want more details, they could read the text here. They could flip it over to get the entire thing.
Yeah, it was right on the back. And now you were exceptional at getting their trust and coming up with innovative ideas because you were actually the top signature gatherer in the entire state of California. You got over 9,000 signatures, and that was more than anybody else on the campaign. And looking back and taking all that time to get those signatures, how do you feel about your achievement there?
That's a great question. Well, I'm very proud that I was able to do something and stick with it that helps a lot of animals, and also just very humbled by all the people I got to work with, including like the top volunteer signature gatherers who did this completely on their own dime and didn't even have like a full-time job doing it. They just did it as their hobby. They found the time for that, and I'd say like I'm proud of so many things I did, and I also saw so many ways I could have been more persistent, on the days that I was having a hard time getting started or gave up and just like decided to go out another day because I was feeling anxious.
Exactly. But that was something that always really impressed me is like your tenacity and your integrity, and the grit that you have to just keep going. You recognize when you are done for the day, and I think as humans in whatever we're doing, we always hit natural stops, and it's important for us to empathize with ourselves, be compassionate towards ourselves, don't force ourselves past our breaking point, because that's how it leads to burnout, which is a hot topic among activists, and making sure that we don't burn out so we can continue doing this. And you're just really, you had so much integrity. And I always admired that. And I think that's really what carried you through. And would you mind sharing a story about what you did when you actually lost your voice, but you were still signature gathering?
That's a fun one. Well, yes, I've had some issues losing my voice sometimes. And the last time that happened was when I was signature gathering. And what I did was I just, I made that sign I told you about. I think that was maybe when I first did make it.
Yeah.
And I also made additional signs to explain more aspects of the campaign or answer common questions. And so I would just kind of, I would find people who are passing by, and then I would just kind of like turn towards them and brandish the sign, just to look very inviting. And I think in some ways that even worked better than when I did have a voice, because it probably stuck out to them. Just a silent person with a sign was a bit different. Yeah. And I was still able to communicate everything I needed to with the signs, just a tiny bit slower. But overall, I felt like I didn't really lose any speed with gaining signatures. And then when I did get my voice back, I continued using the sign sometimes because it really helped me keep my energy up, so I wasn't having to speak quite as much. I could just start off the conversation like that and then talk once they were closer to me and, save my voice a little bit.
That's such an innovative tactic. Like it's incredible. Because to me, I might think like, oh, if I can't speak, I can't do my job. But like, you were able to figure out a way around it and still continue to put up high numbers. And I just think that was like absolutely incredible. And you're willing to go so far to help these animals. What really like started that? Like, how did you start to care about this issue? And work to get to the point where you're volunteering regularly, you're leading, you're a volunteer leader with the Humane League, you are working full time, you're going to animal rights conferences. Like, what really started that spark for you?
Great question. I often say it started with a squid dissection assignment in middle school.
Oh, interesting.
Just because it was my first time coming in contact with the just dead body of a sizable creature, and just made me think about all the ways that we use animals just for our own, whether it's for food or for clothing or for education, and we were just doing things to them I would never want done to me or to my family or anyone,
Yeah.
And then watching videos about factory farming really struck a nerve and made me very passionate, especially because especially when we've seen a lot of this stuff and people might think it's the only way, that we have to treat the animals this way. Some people I knew, were kind of apathetic, or they didn't really care about the issue, and I think that just made me care about it even more. And so once I got older and found out about groups like the Humane League and initiatives like Prop 12, then it gave me so much excitement that I could actually join a team of people who are on the same wavelength, with really wanting to create a more compassionate world where animals are treated better, where it's easier for people to make kind choices that give animals better lives, and we can interact more compassionately towards them. That's just been a dream come true, to find that community and find those efforts that I can be a part of.
Yeah, it's really beautiful, like the way you're describing it it's really common. Like, I found that people who are full-time activists, they have different stories of how they got into activism. For me personally, it was related to the health benefits of plant-based eating, but yet we're still here on the same team, working on Prop 12 together, creating real-world impact for animals. And I always love hearing people's like origin story, we're all like the like it's a comic book, and you got like the way it starts out. And for people who are just getting into animal activism, or who are have never volunteered before but stumble across this interview, like with the top signature gather, like what would you recommend that they do? What are some first steps for people who've never gotten involved?
I guess go to find a group anywhere around you, anything you can get to. Find a group that you can check out online and that seems to resonate with you. Like you read about the cause, you read about what they're doing, and you just feel jazzed up about it and you want to participate. And once you have your first really good experience, then you can just keep building off of that. Like my first experience was, I think, through meetup.com. I saw.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I saw like people were going to be leafleting. I think it was on a college campus. And
was this in Arizona?
It was in Arizona.
Yeah.
And I still remember the friend who I went leafleting with for the first time, who showed me the ropes. And I'm forever grateful to her, because that was my first time. And after that first time, it just got easier to keep going out and doing more of the same, as well as I wanted to try new things and try different forms of activism. Just get started. I'm sure there's more to think of, but that's the first obvious thing that comes to my head.
Right on. And as people go out there and you do this a lot, not only do you meet the people who are really positive about what you're doing, but you also meet some people who are like pretty negative. I think anyone who's done leafleting or like gathered signatures have always come across it. But yet, like, I see you smiling as I start talking about this. So you like, how do you handle like the negativity and the rejection? Because it's really tough. It's emotionally, it takes a lot of courage to put yourself out there for something that you care about or you believe in, So like, how do you overcome that fear or anxiety, and what do you think others can do?
This is such a great topic. Thank you for asking, Chris.
Yeah.
And I know when I was gathering signatures for Prop 12, since I was doing it every day, I kind of got in thinking about the strategy of it and what stuff helped me. And I know actually I wrote like a little guide with some tips that I shared with you. So I know I would have more if I had that paper in front of me. But I know, one of the things that helped me is if someone would explain how they felt and why they didn't want to sign, or just they said no thank you. It really helped me if I'd find something to say in response that was warm and empathetic, and just so I would say that's all right, or oh, I understand, like I understand why you wouldn't want to sign. Just find some like phrases you can say that show that you're not upset with them, and that you understand, and that way they walk away feeling good, and and I also would feel a lot better, versus if I like acted annoyed, or didn't know what to say, then I'd feel more put off by it. And it like I didn't really want to get in-depth discussions with people very much about why they didn't want to sign and stuff, just because I only had so much energy during the day, especially being introverted. And I wanted to preserve that. And also it takes time, and really just here to get lots of signatures. Having the more in-depth discussions is important, but that wasn't the time and place. I was just there to collect signatures. So, so I would just not let it bother me too much, and just like move on to the next person. Just knowing the next really positive interaction with someone who was so supportive and so pro what we were doing, it was always going to be around the corner. So even if sometimes there was some negativity, I knew I had that next really happy connection to look forward to, always. And also it also just helps me to like be able to empathize with them, that they don't know what this is, they don't know what they're signing, and whether they're concerned about like the whatever they're concerned about, like the financial costs, or they are concerned about farmers, or like whatever they're worried about, it's a legitimate concern. And just like if someone was petitioning and walked up to me, I also might feel held back. So just kind of putting myself in their shoes helped me to feel less upset, and also like I would just try to be warm and not to just like treat someone the way I would want to be treated if I was being asked for a signature too.
Just show that empathy. Be considerate of the person, because when someone runs up to me with a clipboard, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like what do they want me to donate to? How much time is this going to take? All these things. And doing signature gathering has definitely taught me to be even more compassionate towards those people, because they deal with some of the worst of humanity on a regular basis. Not like the absolute worst, but like social horribleness, But what were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say, that's another thing about the sign that I really loved when I had the would you have a minute for a signature to help animals sign, is that because it was silent, I think it seemed even less aggressive, or you know what I mean? Like I wasn't even using my voice, so people would kind of walk up to me, and sometimes if I was feeling a little shy in certain places, that's when I would really crank up the sign, because I knew it would come off as very like just calm and like, and not too
I get you on that.
So that helped me.
Yeah, the sign definitely helps, especially when you're feeling nervous, And you mentioned that you are an introvert, because it's probably a really common misconception that people who are, activists, or who are going out and talking about a cause they care about, it's pretty, extroverted stuff, but you claim to be an introvert. So like,
absolutely.
How do you navigate that and make sure that you're taking care of yourself, but still doing things that you think are beneficial to the world?
That's a wonderful question. It really does take knowing yourself and your own energy levels, and how you can match up what you're doing to fit that. For me with signature gathering, I know that it helped actually that the interactions were kind of just like knowing what to say, because I would think about it, I would rehearse it, and then perfect it, and it actually really helped me just having that certainty of like, I know what I'm talking about, I know what kind of interaction we're gonna have, and that I just got to talk with like one person at a time. So in that way, it's not like I was talking with huge huge crowds all at once.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that bad. And I just knew that after I was done signature gathering, I would just want to chill out in my car and just have me time. So I probably wouldn't normally like schedule a busy night out or anything after doing lots of signatures.
Right, because it's like when you're talking to so many people, like the last thing you want to do is talk to even more people, you know, because like you're gonna hurt your voice, you know, you get a headache from talking so much. It's mentally strenuous work, and it's just incredible that you were able to gather just so many more signatures than everyone else. You know, admittedly, you know, you were working full time on it, but still, like 9,000 signatures, that is an incredible feat.
Yeah.
You know,
There was what's Michelle's last name?
Which one, Mento?
Michelle Mento.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, I honestly think she was, like, the #1 signature gatherer.
Oh, really? Why do you say that?
Because she gathered almost as many as me.
Yeah.
And she also had responsibility of being the, kind of like a managerial position also with helping out, like, new paid signature gatherers and overseeing some of that. So I just wanted to say, that's one of the things about, like, it was really cool to be like, yeah, like, I got the most signatures and it felt really, really meaningful, but there are just, like, so many people who were the top in their own way, you know, just like how you had so much responsibility overseeing all of us and really, like, working so hard behind the scenes of this campaign. And I always appreciated the way you checked in with us both as a group and personally, which without all your support, I would not have had, like, the sustained energy to keep gathering signatures every week. So
that means a lot.
Yeah.
Thanks. I really appreciate you saying that. And Michelle, if you are out there watching this, thank you so much. And just thank you to everyone. If you worked on Prop 12, you gathered a signature, just thank you so much for all of your hard work. You know, it was a total team effort. And the one thing I love about these campaigns is, like, they're really intense. They're stressful at times. But, like, now looking back, I have such fond memories of the entire thing. And I think it really, like, grows people together, you know?
Yeah, I just thought of something else I can say, which is that I just get so excited sometimes.
You can tell, it's great.
One of my favorite things to do at the end of the day is I'll just kind of write the moments from the day that brought me the most happiness, you know, where I felt the most joy, or looking back on them brings me the most pride. And I did this habit a lot when I was gathering signatures. So I would actually write some of my happiest memories from being on the college campuses or at the Dolores Park or wherever I was, which is really nice because I could really, like, reminisce about it at the end of the day and fall asleep to just feeling really content about what I had contributed and the fun I had had. But I can also look back on the memories too.
That's beautiful. And you said you keep that in a journal, you know, so you can keep looking back at it?
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Oh yeah, like if you're ever getting down, you know, or feeling demotivated, it's a nice pick-me-up to remember your, like, best highs as an activist and when you've just felt so happy to be out there.
Yeah, I mean, you're selling it. You're selling it great, you know? So, like, do you think that is a good tactic to do to sustain happiness? Because, like, we're dealing with pretty terrible stuff, you know? Like we're gathering signatures to prevent the suffering of farm animals who suffer basically for their entire lives. And, you know, you seem, like, so upbeat and so happy. Would you say that that's one of, like, your techniques that you do is the daily gratitudes in a journal that help you kind of, you know, recognize there is more to the world than the suffering that we're trying to stop, and, you know, stay grounded and stay positive, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I imagine, like, probably any long-term activist, they really learn. I'd be curious to hear what you do too. Like, they really learn how to, like, cultivate the positivity, especially, like, on the other side of that suffering, because, you know, we've all had things we've seen or animals we've known that really, you know, stuck out to us. Their suffering really, like, left an indelible mark in us that keeps us wanting to help them. And we like to sometimes watch things that remind us of what's actually happening and review the facts so that we stay informed and we stay motivated to help them.
Yeah.
But yeah, of course, it's so important to also just as much keep your mind enriched with all the positives, like all the stories of animals who have been saved, and just all the companion and farm and wild animals who you get to see their happiness and their beauty right in front of your eyes, and especially just just finding what you can do that makes a difference and that is a good fit for what you enjoy doing. You know, when you can find that, then even though there's hard days for sure, you always know that you're going to keep creating more and more of those really positive memories from how much hard work you put in.
Yeah, you got that right. And that's something I try to get through on this channel as well, is that if you want to get involved, you know, find something that resonates with you. Like for you and I, it's, you know, animal issues.
Mm-hmm.
Making sure that farm animals aren't suffering, because they suffer tremendously. But there's so many things that need, you know, advocacy, whether it's environmental protection, whether it is public health, whether it is, you know, for refugees. There's, you know, conservation efforts, water protection. There's so many things that need advocacy, and, you know, figure it out. Like, it doesn't have to be one or all. It can be a few, like many. Like, in my spare time, I like to donate to, like, Deworm the World Foundation, you know? So I did an amazing write-up on why I support Deworm the World from Evidence Action, so please go check that out. But you asked, you know, what are some of the things I do to stay positive, you know, amidst, like, working full-time in animal protection and dealing with all this suffering? Well, for me, what I like to do is really focus on what the future that I'm working towards. You know, like, I might be dealing with some difficult stuff in the moment, you know, like ending the suffering of animals in battery cages or gestation crates, or working on campaigns that alleviate the suffering of broiler chickens. But I think about, like, all the amazing vegan products that are out there. I think of all the farming technologies for, like, plant-based agriculture that are saving time and energy and labor so that farmers can keep their farms and keep doing more for their families and for their communities and feeding, you know, America. I think about, like, just all the cool innovation that we have available to us, like the internet, the fact that our advocacy can get multiplied logarithmically, you know, that we can do so much more with less. That's what really gives me hope, is that, like, have you ever heard of the, like, I think it's like Malcolm Gladwell's tipping point. Have you heard of this before? I think I'm explaining it right. If I mess this up, let me know in the comments. With Malcolm Gladwell's tipping point, he says that, like, societal change or any, like, new trend, you basically need to get to, like, this threshold of people in the population doing something about it for it to really, like, skyrocket. And I think that we're about at that point. You know, we're seeing, like, Taco Bell introduce, like, a vegetarian menu. We're seeing Carl's Jr. have the Beyond Burger. You know, we're seeing White Castle have the Impossible Burger. We're seeing plant-based foods so available. People caring about farm animal issues. And I'm talking about farm animals in particular here, because that's what I work on. But I think we're at that tipping point, and I think we're going to see, like, an exponential rise over the next few years in just the reduction in suffering. So, like, that's what really gives me hope. It's, like, thinking about the future that I'm trying to create. And with measures like Prop 12 passing, like, Prop 12 passed with 62.7%, basically 63% of the vote, you know? And that just, like, gives me so much hope that almost 2/3 of California voters, and in Massachusetts it was 78% of the vote. So basically 4 out of 5 people, you know, think that animals should not suffer on farms, even if they're being raised for food. You know, we all can agree that they should be treated kindly rather than cruelly. And passing, like, Prop 12 really gets me excited for the future. You know, so being able to, like, take direct work on it, while also being able to meet amazing people like yourself and all the people that I worked with on the team, you know, that gives me a lot of hope. You know, and speaking of all of those amazing people, I actually have this poster right here. This is We Did It to celebrate California making history on November 6th. And I've got some of the core people who are working on this, worked on this campaign, and I would be honored if you could sign this real quick. Would you
I'd love to. Thank you.
Yeah, so we got so many people. Let me grab this pen for you. Like, all you do is just sign your name. I got another one over there where you can leave, like, just a nice comment or something. But this is just signature only. So I had this actually on the night that we won, and everyone I could get signed there, I had sign it. If you need to use, like, ink, just, like, scribble there to get it going. There you go. Yeah, and then it's also gonna probably smudge. Like, this pen's pretty good. Is it running out of ink? Yeah. Let's see, I'm going. Let me try this one out. Yeah, these pens are great, but they bleed a lot. You know, I don't know if that's probably not a very vegan term, but
wait, just like the Beyond and Impossible burgers.
Yeah, exactly. So just watch your hand because it might smudge, and I would hate to have your beautiful signature all smudged up. But yes, thank you so much. Yeah, this is just incredible. I can't wait to get this framed once I get everyone's signature on it. So check it out. That's probably a good thumbnail right there. So we did it. But yeah, so thank you so much for taking the time to interview with me today. Like, this was so cool getting to go back down memory lane. And now, what is there any other like things you want to share with people, you know, if they're an animal advocate or if they are an environmental person, just like someone who cares passionately about something, you know, do you have anything to share with them? Or even if it's just like a gratitude tip, like what do you think people absolutely need to hear from you?
Well, I just really like what you said about the future and about how we're dealing with a lot of suffering in the past and in the present, and keeping that future in mind, the future that when you think about it, you feel so happy and so hopeful. I think that's really important. And then every day, if you like review that vision, you review that future, whether you just have it in your mind or if you post it somewhere, make a collage, you know, write it down, something that helps you tap into the future, like literally a time machine, where you can travel for an instant to that better future. I think that is so important. And then you're able to see glimpses of that future slowly coming into reality every day, just like you're doing. I think that's so important to also define for yourself, especially as you're working in part of a bigger group. You know, like your organization or group you volunteer with will have its own collective mission, but having like your own vision, your own mission as well of what it means to you, what about the future that you're creating most excites you. I think having that future vision close to your heart and so that you see it and remember it every day is super important.
That's beautiful. I think that's an incredible note to end on. And again, thank you so much, Phoenix. I really appreciate it. And thank you to everyone for watching. Can people reach out to you? Where's the best place to get in contact with you if they want to ask anything?
Sure. Why not friend me on Facebook? You'll find me Phoenix Huber. Phoenix spelled like the city, and then H Uber.
All right. So H Uber. I like that. That's a really good way to state it. So what I'll do is I'll put that in the comments. If you're interested in connecting with Phoenix and learning from her, definitely don't hesitate to contact her. Since you made it this far, remember to hit that subscribe button. We are working our way up on the YouTube subscribers. Be sure to follow us on Twitter to keep the conversation going on this subject. Let me know what your self-care practices are. If you're a full-time activist, let us know how you stay positive. And if you're watching this on Facebook, hit that like button and share this video around. But anyways, thank you so much, Phoenix. I hope that you all have an incredible day wherever you are, and stay tuned for more cool episodes from Hendrickson Media. See ya.